Traders, to our midweek technical analysis video. So keeping things short and sweet here, we're going to go from the start of the week. So this was the first candle that opened up the market. As you remember, we finished in a low time frame consolidation where the market sort of fizzled out, volume dropped as the market came closer and closer to that closing point. Market opened up and we saw a bullish push on the lower time frames. However, as you can see, the sellers did begin and eventually took control of the market, pushing price all the way down, with price finishing at around 3,333. From there, price continued bearish until we found a support at around 3,310, with price then, as you can see, sort of consolidating and testing our level of 3,300 as a support twice. Price then pushed up in a bullish fashion, eventually creating a new high at 3,340, which was the same area that the market pushed into upon open. Price then dropped down. We then saw a first test of 3,330. This was interesting to see, as we thought that it was going to be our first higher low. So obviously we had our higher high and then our higher low. However, price eventually ended up switching, and then we created a lower high followed by a lower low, with the first lower low at 3,320 and our next lower high at 3,330. So as you can see, we saw a break of structure, and then price came back up to test previous support as resistance. Price then dropped, and then we sort of saw some liquidation and liquidity grab at the level of 3,290, with price then pushing up and just sort of consolidating at the same sort of level here at 3,300, and then the same sort of thing, as you can see here. Sorry, apologies for that thing in the way. I'll get rid of that in a sec. You can see that price ended up testing in and around this level of 3,290, with price then pushing up to where it currently is now. So what does that look like for gold for the rest of the week? So in conclusion, thus far, we've seen the market continue on bearish. So obviously we did have this bullish move that eventually pulled price out of these depths after that initial push down throughout Monday, and then obviously once the momentum and volatility kicked back in through the New York session, we then saw a bullish move. But since then, we haven't seen a bullish move significant enough for us to change our overall bias from a bearish to a bullish one. So taking that into consideration, we have in fact started to sort of flip structure. So as you can see, we've had a break of structure for these previous two levels, these two highs here. You can see that price has in fact broke structure of these two levels, with the candlestick finishing just above one of our points of interest at 3,310. As you can currently see, price on the lower time frames is testing at that level as a support after breaking through. If I go down to our minute 5 real quick, you'll see this in a little bit more detail. So as you can see, we saw that initial push up and then price has come back down to test it. As you can see, we have had multiple tests whilst price has been in this area. So what does that look like? If I zoom out, you can see that price has pushed up on that initial bullish move, and price is creating a bullish flag, with price respecting the current level of support and the same sort of current level as a resistance, creating higher highs and then higher lows, higher highs and higher lows. With that same pattern, if we are to see that price is to continue that same pattern, we can expect to see something like this. So if price is to hold up from this level, what we're expecting and anticipating to see from gold here is to push on higher. Where are we expecting price to eventually push to is going to be our next point of interest at 3,340, which is the same high that we spoke about here and the same high that price initially pushed into upon market open on Sunday at 10 p.m. GMT. However, there is definitely going to still be a bearish possibility, and the bearish move would look something like this. So if we start forming a resistance pattern at this level, perhaps we do have maybe a couple more fake outs going with price moving sideways and pushing a couple more higher highs. Apologies. With price then dropping down and then breaking through this level of 3,290 and then continuing on. If price is to break that level of 3,290 significantly on our hour 1 time frame, we're going to expect price to come somewhere near the level of 3,265. So short and sweet, not too much to go over in terms of serious data is basically clean market momentum, market moves this week thus far. So we will let the market play itself out, and we will obviously get back in touch on our post-week market analysis. So that's going to be that for our midweek technical analysis. I hope you have all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.